Hi there and a big welcome to a cEDH deck tech video for Ratadrabik of Urborg. This decklist has been brought to us by Paul. Now, surprisingly enough, for an orzhove commander, we have an average win rate of 26.17 from a total of 28 tournament entries with this commander. Now, 28 tournament entries is a very low sample size, so we can't really trust that win rate, but it's showcasing some potential promise. Now, an average win rate of 26.17, it's putting it kinda close to Tymna and Crom, but we can trust Tymna and Crom's win rate because we have 2,183 tournament entries with that very popular commander. So very importantly, we don't know if this win rate is going to stick, but yeah, it's definitely worth it to have a discussion about this thing. But what in the world is this thing? Like, what is it doing? What's the combo with this thing? Like, how is this thing winning? Well, it has a really interesting combo. You see, whenever another legendary creature you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary and it's a 2/2 black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. Now, the Nazgul is not legendary, however it has an ability whenever Nazgul enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. And whenever the ring tempts you, you may attach the ring to something, and that something becomes legendary. So when that Nazgul dies, or well, when you put it into play, you make it legendary, and then when the Nazgul that is legendary dies, it goes to the graveyard, Ratadrabik of Urborg triggers and creates a 2/2 token of zombie version of the Nazgul that is actually increasing its power from 1/2 to 2/2, so that's an upgrade. But the ring will tempt you again, and now you can make the token legendary. And now if you sacrifice that token with something like a Viscera Seer, it's a legendary that dies, so the Ratadrabik of Urborg will create another Nazgul token, and the ring will tempt you again, and you basically have a loop. The big trick here is that Nazgul is making itself legendary on ETB. And then all you need is something like this. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. And if you're looping that Nazgul infinitely, well, then infinite life and infinite damage. And as you can see, we have 9 Nazguls. However, I did get some information from Paul that you probably don't need 9 Nazguls. It's kind of cool factor to play Nazguls, but you probably need something like 3 to 5, so to say, for this to work properly. But then you're basically mixing with a lot of different sack outlets, like we have Viscera Seer, we have Altar of Dementia, Ashnod's Altar, Carrion Feeder, Cartel Aristocrat, and Yawgmoth Fram Physician is kind of a sack outlet as well. You can't really do infinite with this one because you're paying life, but hey, it's a worthy mention. And then you have a bunch of effects that happens or triggers whenever something is dying. So you have Cruel Celebrant, you have Corpse Knight, Blood Artist, Sulaport Cutthroat. Altar of the Brood is actually an output, well, as well. Each opponent mills, basically. And the Meat Hook Massacre, also worthy mention. Bastion of Remembrance is also something that will trigger whenever a creature you control dies. So each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So I think you get the picture of the core combo, basically sitting there and looping 1 Nazgul infinitely. So you have basically 3 steps or 3 cards that need to be assembled. You need 1 Nazgul. You have 9 versions of the Nazgul. Then you need 1 sack outlet. You have lots of different variations of sack outlets. And then you need 1 outlet, something that triggers or wins from this infinite sacking. And as you have multiple versions of these 3 concepts, you have multiple cards that could synergize and become a combo together. This is increasing consistency because you just have more different combo options inside your library. But then together with tutors, and by the way, Diabolic Intent, perfect, sacrifice effect, also a tutor, Imperial Seal, you have Vamp tutor, you're just increasing the potential of finding key cards that you need. And for example, Tainted Pact, perfect, it is also a tutor that you can use. And by the way, this is an orzhove deck, so highly recommend if you're going to be playing Tainted Pact that, as you can see, you don't playing multiple versions of basic swamps. You have snow-covered plains, you have snow-covered swamp. This build actually don't play basic swamp and basic plain, but you can play basic swamp and snow-covered swamp, and that will not be stopped by a Tainted Pact because the two basic lands have different names. But I truly think that tutors are key here, because once you have assembled your entire combo, you don't really care what's remaining in your library. Oh, we also have a Feral Ghoul. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Feral Ghoul. Whenever Feral Ghoul dies, each opponent gets a number of rad counters equal to its power. Yeah, so if you make this infinite, you give your opponents infinite rad counters, and then you pass turn and they die. Daffy Voidwalker. We do have a really cool card in here, by the way. Call of the Ring. At the beginning of your upkeep, the ring tempts you. Whenever you choose a creature as your ring bearer, you may pay 2 life if you do draw 2 cards. So yeah, that's a good card, but at the beginning of your upkeep, the ring tempts you. This means that you can make Daffy Voidwalker legendary. And this ultimately means that everything that has been collected by the Daffy Voidwalkers, it's something you will have continuously access to. So if you have a commander play, you have Daffy Voidwalker, and you have that Call of the Ring, you can literally sit and cast things by sacrificing your token 2/2 zombie Voidwalker that you're making legendary over and over. It's not busted, it's not over the top, but it's kinda cool and definitely worthy to know about. We also have a Kambal Profiteering Major. Whenever one or more tokens enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So this is also an outlet for your victory, but whenever one or more tokens enters the battlefield under your opponent's control, for each of them, create a tap token that's a copy of it. This ability triggers only once each turn. So it's both an outlet for your victory, but it's also something of a small value engine as well, a tiny version of it. Lofo, Corrupted Sheriff, really good card in general. We already mentioned Yawgmoth Fram Physician as helping you a tiny bit of your victory, but it's also something of like a value engine, because you can sacrifice another creature and then draw a card. Nasty End, definitely a worthy mention. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. If the sacrificed creature was legendary, draw 3 cards instead. Deadly Dispute, as an additional cost, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards, and create a treasure token. But there's one more cool combo we have inside this build. We have Uba Mask and a Draenei Magistrate. Uba Mask reads, if a player would draw a card, that player removes that card from the game faced up instead. So everyone will basically have their hands in exile, and everyone get to see what they have in their hand. And each player may play card he or she removed from the game with Uba Mask this turn, which is kind of allowing you to only cast spells that you draw now in the moment. You can't sit and collect cards anymore. However, Draenei Magistrate, your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands, which is literally preventing your opponents from drawing cards more or less, as everything they draw goes into exile where they can't cast it. It's basically a sort of lockdown effect. I would like to point out that if you have your Uba Mask in play and your opponent has a Draenei Magistrate in play, you're killing yourself and king-making that person, so be wary. Orzhove in general also have access to other potential combos like Necropotence and Ad Nauseam, as well as Bola Citadel, Sensei's Divining Top and Necropotence combo. So even though you have a potential combo right here that is very clean and very simple, you can increase potential depending on. I don't think I would recommend this, but I'm mentioning it. In the end, this is truly solving one of the many problems Orzhove have been having. You see, Orzhove black and white are pretty good colors currently, but they are lacking combo potential, and this commander is giving you a pretty good combo potential. While still having access to black, you have Daffy Voidwalker, the best anti-card draw, while Opposition Agent, the best anti-search, and Orcish Bowmaster, a really good spot removal creature in general. But also, you're lacking that Rhystic Study from blue, but there have been an upgrade or a print of the One Ring that has also been proving to be really good. So a lot of cards Orzhove kinda needs kind of exist. It's just that Orzhove have been needing a proper combo, and with this commander you do get one. So it's kinda coming together with this commander in the end. And that is why this commander is showcasing some promise. You have good value engines, you have some decent interaction in the new printed black versions, you have some the One Ring value engines as well, and you have a combo from the command zone, and that is kind of why you're seeing a good potential performance from it. I would also like to remind you that this is a new commander, and whenever it appears inside a cEDH pod, people might think, oh, that's casual, and they might undervaluate it and ignore it. And the best thing that can ever happen to you in a cEDH game is that you're being ignored and people think that you're a casual player. So it could also be that it's getting left behind, and that's why it's winning a little bit more potentially as well. But who knows? Time will tell. In any case, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this little short cEDH deck tech video for an Orzhove commander. And I'm really happy to see this because Orzhove definitely needs some potential upgrades. 4 colors and 5 color commanders and 3 colors commanders are very strong in the current format, and it's really good if we can boost mono and dual color commanders as well. And black-white color identity have been dragging a little bit behind. And in the case, guys, see you around in the next one.